Greetings, Merry Christmas, Happy
Merry
Holidays.
Christmas!
We
Yeah.
are coming to you after spending Christmas with Joe's side of the family. Today we had bought 10, I should say, Yang merch for 10 family members. And that's what, maybe about 330, 350. It was great. We had a wonderful time.
Everybody appreciated the gifts. They were
Every
actually like really authentically like, thank you.
Everybody was excited about what we got them,
They
and
came and gave us hugs.
we
They had to learn
changed it up,
extra
right? We
hugs.
didn't buy all the same things, right? We bought tanks and t-shirts with different things on it for different people. What was really extraordinary is that we have two new Yang gang in the family. Yay! What do you say, Joe? Woohoo!
Yeah, they've been coming to it for a while. You could already see they were an easy sell. But with Bernie out there, he's very tempting. He's a great talker. So, I think today one of them said that he's all the way for Yang, and the other one said that there's nothing that she's found wrong with Yang, and she's been watching his videos and everything. So she's been looking into him and really thinks he's a perfect candidate.
And those are his brother and his brother's partner. So that's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm intrigued by, I didn't want to be the one to do it. So I observed that Joe was having a Yang conversation with his dad.
Yeah.
So now I want to find out, what was the conversation with your dad about? You care to share?
Yeah, we were just discussing how humanity has to come first, and he was expressing his reservations that automation was going to come in as fast as some of the initial reports are showing. And I acknowledged him in that and said, yeah, it's possible it will take longer, but it's definitely coming. And we also talked about how quantitative easing has just been pushing off the inevitable, and he's a big believer in that. So I think he really is, one of his primary concerns is creating authentic conditions in the market to keep it continuing to succeed. And so I was encouraging him that was possible, and I also talked about some of Andrew Yang's policies that I really believe in, like exonerating all marijuana alone offenses, people who are in prison right now, allowing them to be out of prison and expunging those crimes from their records. I really believe in that because I'm a member of the legal cannabis industry, and I feel very fortunate to be in this industry, and at the same time I want the people who are also in the same industry to get the same respect.
That's great, love.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and had a chance to talk with family about that. And
so I'm curious, what were his main questions? So you said he had concerns or reservations. So what were the questions that he was asking?
The question that he kind of danced around is, where is the income, the monthly income? Where is it going to, the freedom dividend? Where is it going to come from? But he
Where's
never
the
really,
money going to come from
he
to
never
pay
really
for the freedom
asked it
dividend?
straight up. Yeah, what he did ask was more about how universal basic incomes have gone in the past, how people spent their money. He was interested in those kind of things, and how it impacted the economy. And when I explained studies that show that it allows people to contribute to the local economy more, he was very pleased with that. And we talked about some of the statistics that talk about the average dollar that an African American person receives leaves the African American community the first time it's spent, and how for example, in Stockton and other places where universal basic income is happening, Alaska being one where it's more established, not just a pilot program, people spend more locally. They're a lot more likely to spend locally when they have extra income. And that extra income is really helpful for supporting your friend who has a business right down the street rather than going to Walmart. And I think that really seemed to land well with him, where he had a chance to think about
phenomenal.
that. Yeah.
And what I'm excited about is that you took the time, because it really needed to come from you. The culture of your family is such that it makes sense that you were the one doing that, doing the Yanging conversation with your dad. And I'm excited because you knew enough to be able to share that with him, because because he comes from a finance background,
Yeah.
he's going to be asking the hard questions.
Right.
And luckily, you were able to help him to
Yeah.
begin to think more deeply about Yang. Do you get the sense that he's thinking more deeply about Yang?
Yeah, because he still works in the finance industry, and I already know that once I was able to distinguish Andrew Yang, because my sister was initially under the impression that he's more a socialist, and she didn't know his background. Like, she thought he was a social activist. And so I explained that he was actually an entrepreneur, and that I could tell my sister was initially like a little bit more like, oh, because she's not so business oriented. She's more social and humanitarian oriented, you know. But for my dad, I thought that was an important distinction because his clients, the people who are paying him to manage their money, they don't want Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren to win. And he's the type of guy where, out of respect for his relationship with them, that would influence the way that he votes, and also in terms of him and his investments. So the idea is that it's important to make that distinction for especially for conservatives, because then they understand, oh, there are actually different roads, and this is not a person who's going to come into presidency and just give all wealthy people a haircut, where it's like, now you have to start paying, just give me 15% of your wealth or something like that, you know, because I think it's important for Americans to understand that's the nightmare of a lot of the wealthy and elite in this country, and also of people who fought, for example, again in the Korean War or even in the Vietnamese War. You know, they were very concerned with keeping communism outside of American borders.
So we're talking boomers.
Yeah,
Boomers in their
boomers.
early 70s.
Yeah, who may be very humanitarian oriented, but yeah, like
they're still
they're
conservative.
You know, some of them don't even have money and they feel that way. You know, yeah.
So I'm really excited for what's ahead, because it means that we are continuing to grow Yang Gang in our family.
Yeah.
And Joe is I know his dad is gonna continue to think and maybe ask questions and do research, because he's that kind of person. It's now been open to his sister, you know, and with
she's now coming from the other side of the spectrum, I think, going to become more interested. Like, okay, well, I like Bernie, I like what he says, but wait a second, she's involved in the community. She sees what goes on with a lot of these students, and she, as a teacher, and also in many different capacities, she gives back a lot. She's also a philanthropist, so she sees a lot of the things that are going on, and all the needs, you know, and she knows that. What I was explaining to my dad is one lump sum is not going to do much, especially because you have to try to look out for so many people. But, you know, a monthly income, now you can do something.
Yeah.
You know, now you're in business.
It's my impression that your sister is going to be Yang Gang in no time, because she was so excited about your brother wearing his, like every one of them got
They had all kind of questions.
But she was excited to observe her brother wearing his tank and the way he was so comfortable sporting it.
His tank top said Yang, and then had a period, and they asked him what his shirt said, and he said, Yang Gang 2020. So everybody's like,
there you go.
I said, that's what that says. That God says, Gang 2020.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yang.
So some of them probably never even heard the term Yang Gang.
Yang Gang. Like, that's exciting. So that's where we're going to leave it for you guys. All right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Keep yanging. Yang 2020.
More blessings.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Peace.
Okay.
Joy.
Ciao.